for joining us today, everyone. My name is Mary. I work in the children's room at the library, and I do all the World Wednesday programs. So if you've been to some of them that we've had already this summer, I hope you enjoyed them. We kind of have a mixture of guest speakers and also, just some things that I put together. So I really appreciate you joining us today. So this week we're going to be learning about Australian Aboriginal art. And so we're going to learn a little bit about the history of it. And also we're going to look at some books that I have borrowed from actually a different library. If you've never done interlibrary loan, it's a really great resource. And this one came from Florida, and I'm not sure where this one came from, but we'll look at those books in a little bit. So I have a PowerPoint with lots of images and lots of information. So I'm going to go through that kind of quickly because I know that you guys all want to work together to do our craft. But if you have any questions, go ahead and stop me, raise your hand, type it in the chat. Can you guys all see my PowerPoint? Is it a big screen or can you see it okay? It is okay? Just give me a thumbs up if you can see everything on there. Good, okay. So the background of every slide on my screen share has an example of some of the art we're gonna be doing. So I'm kind of hoping while you're listening to me, you're getting ideas of how you want to do your art project. So if you don't have it ready, try to find that kit that looks like a lot of you guys have it. And we'll just be working on one of these together today. So you'll have lots of projects to do after. And I wanted to give you the choice to pick what animal and what colors you wanted to do. So hopefully, awesome. I see an orange kangaroo. You guys are all ready to go. We're not going to start that part quite yet. So we're going to do the art lesson first. So I want you guys to look at my screen. What do you see in those images? You can type it in the chat or just say it. Actually, where is my chat? Can I see my chat? No, that's not it.
I see pictures of animals. I see a big fish, two medium fish, and a very small fish.
Awesome.
And weird crocodile-looking things.
Yes, so definitely some animals. So that's going to kind of let us know that maybe a reoccurring theme that we'll see in some of the Australian Aboriginal art is animals. And obviously you guys have animals on your pictures that you drew. So let's talk about what it means when we say Aboriginal people of Australia. So the Australia's Aboriginal culture represents the oldest surviving culture in the world. And they have things like stone tool technology and painting that date back over 60,000 years. So that's a really long time. Hold on just a sec. Yep. And it's the longest continuing religion in the world, with the rainbow serpent mythology recorded in rock shelter paintings, believed to be 7,000 years old. So actually, I think that's supposed to be 70,000. Sorry. So really, I'm kind of letting people back into the room too. So, so we'll talk a little bit more about this. So, so the Aborigines, it means native, or it's like the same as if you've heard the word indigenous. That means kind of like the people that were there first on a continent. So we're talking about Australia. Have any of you guys been to Australia before? No. Is it north of us or south of us? Point up if you think it's north, point low if you think it's south. Yes, it's south of us. Is it usually hotter or colder than Iowa, for example? If you think it's hotter, go like this. If you think if it's lower, go like this. Yes.
Avery says she can't hear you.
Oh, well, I'm not sure what I can do about that. Avery, can you see if your volume is working on your computer? And I missed that chat. Thank you. Okay. So someone, yeah, Avery said they can't hear me. Can you hear me now, Avery? Because I'm hearing from other people that they can hear me. All right, so yes, we're talking about Australia. It's closer to the equator. It's down below. So yes, that means that it is definitely, for the most part, warmer. I'm sure they have like rainy, chilly days, but they have some really hot temperatures down there. So the people we're talking about are, like I said, they're like the indigenous people or the native people to Australia. And they traveled, oh, Avery's back in, okay. And the Aborigines traveled in canoes from Southeast Asia. So that's pretty interesting. And they developed unique beliefs about creation, and they survived as hunters and observers. So you'll definitely see that when we talk about the art. The things that they're trying to depict are things they're observing in nature, and also information about how to find food and hunting, because that's how they survived. Okay, so in Aboriginal culture, everyone is an artist because everyone participates in activities such as dancing, singing, body decoration, sand drawing, and weaving baskets. And of course, we're going to talk about a specific kind of art today, which later on is called dot drawing or dot painting. So you can see some different things on this page. We have a dot drawing. What's the animal on that dot drawing? What do you guys think?
One of them is a kangaroo and the other.
Yes, you can't even tell that I'm pointing at it, but I'm pointing at my screen. Yes, the dot drawing has a kangaroo in it. And there's also some other interesting symbols around the kangaroo. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Does anyone know what's up top with the snakes on it?
Thing. What's that?
I think it's like something they blow through.
Yes, exactly. I think it's called a yeah, it's like a horn. Sally said I think it's called a didgeridoo.
Yeah, there's yeah, I know about those
right?
didgeridoo.
Or didgeridoo.
Yeah,
so that's something that originated in Australia. Down below, we saw this picture that had the fish on there. And I think that might have been on my first slide or a similar drawing. So that's actually a drawing that's on bark. So we'll talk about that in a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to move on. Okay, so the Aboriginal art is based on important ancient stories and symbols centered on what's called the dream time, the period in which Indigenous people believe the world was created. So it's kind of like a creation story. If you go to like a religious building on Saturday or Sunday, you have probably heard about the origin story from a Bible, or there's lots of different religions with different origin stories. So for the Indigenous people of Australia, it's called the dream time. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. So it's at least 50,000 years old, and it's been handed down through generations and virtually unchanged. That means that a mother or father is passing on the story to their kids, and it's staying exactly the same. There's not a lot of evolving or adaptations. So we're getting kind of the same story. And I'm kind of trying to watch the chat. Oops, but I can't do too many things at once, so I apologize. Okay, so so we're going to have to learn about the dream time. So I am going to read a dream time story in the next slide or two here. So they believe supernatural beings with magical powers created the land's features, animals, and plants during dream time. And they used art as a way to stay in touch with their ancestry and to be a part of the natural world. So like we said, it's passed down through word of mouth, and artwork is a really common way that it's depicted. So sort of the basis of their value and belief system, just like we have like Bible stories or different folk tales that kind of create our belief system, our values. We learn lessons from them. Same thing with the dream time. Okay, hold on, I'm trying to add people on the waiting room too. Avery, sorry. You keep on getting kicked out or something? Okay, hopefully it works for Avery. It's hard to do 2 things at once. Okay, so it's like Aesop's Fables. Have any of you heard Aesop's Fables at all? Raise your hand if you've ever heard. Those are, a lot of those are about animals, right? So it's kind of similar to that because it has a lot of animals in it. So land is sacred because it contains their heritage, history, and powerful ancestors or spirits. So I think my next slide is I'm going to read the Dreamtime Rainbow Serpent story. In the dream time, all earth lay sleeping. Nothing moved, nothing grew. One day, the rainbow serpent awoke from her slumber and came out from under the ground. She traveled far and wide and eventually grew tired and curled up and slept. She left marks of her sleeping body and her winding tracks. So are you kind of visualizing a snake? Did you guys get a snake in your kit? See a wind? Yes, just like that, a windy path. When she returned to the place where she had first appeared and called to the frogs, "Come out." The frogs came out slowly because their bellies were heavy with water, which they had stored in their sleep. The rainbow serpent tickled their stomachs, and when the frog laughed, water ran all over the earth to fill the tracks of the rainbow serpent's wanderings. This is how lakes and rivers were formed. With water, grass, and trees sprang up. Also, all animals awoke and followed the rainbow serpent across the land. They were happy on earth, and each lived and gathered food with his own tribe. Some animals live in rocks, others on the plains, and others in trees and in the air. The rainbow serpent made laws that they were all to obey, but some became quarrelsome and made trouble. The rainbow serpent said, "Those who keep my laws will be rewarded. I shall give them human form. Those who break my laws will be punished and turned to stone, never to walk the earth again." The lawbreakers became stone and turned to mountains and hills, but those who kept the laws were turned into human form. The rainbow serpent gave each of them their own totem of the animal, bird, or reptile from whence they came. The tribes knew themselves by the totems: kangaroo, emu, carpet snake, and many, many more. So no one would starve. The rainbow serpent ruled that no man should eat of his totem, but only of other totems. This way, there was food for everyone. The tribes lived together on the land given to them by the rainbow serpent, or mother of life, and knew the land would always be theirs, and no one should ever take it from them. So there was a lot of interesting origins going on in that story. They talked about rivers and streams. They talked about mountains and hills, and about all kinds of different animals. And most importantly, it's an origin story about why there are humans on Earth. So that is just one example of a Dreamtime story. And the books that I brought talk a little bit more about the Dreamtime too. How's everyone doing? Hanging in there? We're almost ready to start our art project. So a little bit more about like the actual art they created. Obviously, there's unique subject matter and style because they're using information that they gathered from the Dreamtime, and also what they're seeing in nature, what they're observing. So they're known for their rock paintings, bark paintings, sand or dot paintings. So that's kind of what we're doing today, and also body decoration. So what would that be called today, the body decoration?
Dressing up.
Tattoo.
Yeah, so they figured out tattoos, and then they were able to share their stories on their bodies. So brushes were made from bark, plant fibers, twigs, hair, or feathers. And they also used fingers or sticks to paint. So today we'll be using brushes and Q-tips. So I don't think they had Q-tips 40,000 years ago, but we are going to use Q-tips. So they used natural minerals or clay to make red, yellow, and white paint. Black was made from charcoal. So we'll have some different colors. Traditionally, the art would have only been made with colors of the earth like red, yellow, and white, and black, but you should have in your kit some pretty fun colors. So another thing about Aboriginal art, it stands as a written language. So it's kind of like the encyclopedia is the art. It's like, this is fact. There's also many layers of meaning. So Australian Aboriginal people have no written language of their own. So the important stories central to the people's culture are based on the traditional icons or symbols and information in the artwork, which go hand in hand with the stories, dance, or song, helping to pass on vital information and preserve the culture. So I mentioned the word icons or symbols, and we're going to talk a little bit about more of those in a minute, because it's not just dots that we are going to be adding to our art. There's also some symbols that if you choose to, you can include. So also paintings are used for teaching. So it's like a visual story. And like I mentioned, the stories were passed on from generation to generation. So a lot of time, the stories would teach a lesson to children. So I mentioned Aesop's fables. So sometimes a folktale or a fable will teach kids when they listen to the story how to be a good person, or how to be honest, or how to not be selfish, things like that. So artists need permission to paint a particular story. So remember in the Dreamtime story, it was kind of like the totem that was like they belong to that tribe. So traditional Aboriginal artists cannot paint a story that does not belong to them through their family lineage. So it's like very much part of the culture, and you can't just tell a story that doesn't belong to you. So I want to kind of circle back to the symbolism that we talked about. So Aboriginals use symbols to represent natural surroundings. They are shown as tracks left in the ground, and they look like they are seen from a plane or like a bird's eye. So they represent recent tracks left by animals or tracks made in the past by ancestors. So let's look at the symbols in here. Can you guys see this okay? Definitely seeing like a circle with more circles inside of it, and that represents a campsite. Stone, well, or like rock hole. So that's something you would see from above. I'm seeing different arrows. Those represent footprints. Let's see, a rain that kind of looks like a, half like a straight line, like you see when it rains kind of sideways like that. Thunder and lightning, you see kind of the waves. That's kind of like lightning, how it zigzags. In this symbolism, it's more like wavy. Here's some more. While the most commonly used symbols are relatively simple, they can be used in elaborate combinations to tell
those ones are the ones that are on all the instructions.
Yes, I did include some of them on the instructions because I wanted you to be able to draw some onto your artwork if you chose to. And I'll kind of pop back to this page also. I was going to see what other cool, and then you can see on this one, the rain looks a little bit different. But the water looks like a stream, star, or the sun, that very much looks like a sun, obviously a rainbow. I like the kangaroo tracks. Mountains are kind of like a wavy little thing going on. Let's see. Okay, so Rowan and Evie said, I don't think you are sharing, and if you are, I can't see it. I am not sure how to pin, if you go to, you might be in gallery view. If you go to, I don't know what it's called, the other kind of, instead of gallery, you might see me because I don't know how to pin my screen share. Here we go. Let's see. Okay, she says they, Rowan and Evie can see now. Perfect. Okay, and I'm almost done with the screen share part. Then I'll kind of switch over to, I have better technology now. If you joined me for the Clawdaw World Wednesday, I was using my phone on a tripod, and now we have a really cool camera. So I can switch over. So let's look at a couple more symbolisms. I like the, obviously the snakes, that's like the dream serpent story with the water, or with the streams and the rivers. So that's a really cool one. The one with the frogs and the water holes, that was also part of the Dreamtime story. So the frogs are the black circles and then the water holes are the blue circles. So they're even getting into the complexity of like colors meaning different things. All right, so the dotting, of course, is what we're mostly doing today, but you also have the option to add some symbols. But the interesting thing about the dotting is it's not just the background. It's actually used to obscure some of the meanings and hide some of the symbolism. So it's like if you were adding symbols into your background of your picture, you would put a bunch of dots around it, so that'd be harder to see that symbol because it's supposed to be only for the people of that tribe or the initiated. So it also is just a conventional symbol used, and it gives a lot of the Aboriginal art its character. So lots of dots, but also some symbols mixed in there too. Okay, and I wanted to kind of circle back a little bit because we talked about that fish on that first slide. So it was really interesting to see some pictures that they found on bark. That was like, to me, a really ingenious way of making paper, and it was able to be preserved for like thousands of years for us to have pictures of it now. So it's the oldest form of Aboriginal art, but obviously a lot of them have perished over time because it's bark, it's like paper. So not only is the bark prone to decay and disintegration, but the ochre paints also used have a relatively short life, because remember, they were using, instead of, we're going to use like acrylic paint today, they are using minerals that they like ground up and found in nature. So this is just a little bit of information that you probably don't need, but it's how they made the bark painting. So they would cut the bark in a rectangle after the wet season when it's soft, and then they would place it on warm coals pressed flat with weights and sticks tied to both ends. So that would make it nice and flat, and it would be like stretching it out. So it would be like a really taut paper. And then they painted with natural pigments mixed with a natural fixative. So they would use sticky gum from trees, and it would be like a similar style that they would do on rock paintings, but it would also like illustrate the Dreamtime stories. And they were painted on bark for ceremonies, burials, and everyday objects such as baskets and belts. Did someone have a question? I cannot hear. It looks like Callum is talking. Are you talking to me? No? Okay. Well,
I have a question.
Knock yourself out.
Can you at the end show like the last thing that had your Aboriginal symbols? Because at the end it has a lot of the animal tracks, and I was wondering if you could, so that we could like put the animal tracks on animals.
Yes, I can definitely pop back over to that slide. And I think we are at the end of the information that I have for you. So I will give you a little bit of an objective for your creative task today, and I will give you some tips, and I'll kind of show you how to do some dots, how to draw some symbols, but for the most part, you are going to be able to decide what you want to do and how you want your art project to look. And like I said, obviously, if you picked up a kit from the library, then you have, I think, 4 or 5 different animals to choose from, different colors. So if you want to make all of them, you are welcome. It's definitely a project that you can do on your own time later on if you want to. But yes, so I just basically shared the same tips and tricks that I put on the instruction sheet. So it's good to have a different Q-tip for each color. Obviously, you don't want to do a lot of paint mixing if you can avoid it. I didn't include this in the kit, but if you want to use like markers or crayons to draw the symbols, that might be a little bit easier than trying to use paint. But if you want to, all of your paint kits should have included a little brush that you could use. So in the examples that I'm about to show, you'll see that they not only colored the background around the animals with dots, but they also filled in the animals with dots too. So it's like a contrast between the background and the animals. And that's why I printed the outline of the animals on black paper, so you can create a really stark contrast And do you guys know what contrast means? Like opposite, extreme opposite. So that's why I printed it on like bright colors like yellow, and then the animals are on black. So they'll have a really stark contrast. I'm going to show you, if you want to how to make the concentric circles that I mentioned. And that would be basically if you were to fill in your background with lots of circles of dots, just to have kind of a pattern going around it. And I know I included some examples in a minute here to talk about that. So you want to, the idea is you want to keep dotting until you can start now if you want. I'm sure that you guys can all figure this out, but I will show you just some techniques if you'd like. So the idea is to keep dotting until your entire page is full. Because all of the Aboriginal art that I'm going to show you has the entire page filled with dots. Isn't that cool? And I will definitely pop back and show you these books a little bit more in a minute. And make sure you let them dry before hanging them up. Okay, so really quick before I switch over to this camera, I'm just going to show you a few examples. I really like the colors in this one. And that's definitely some symbols going on in this one. You can see the circles. That was like a campfire or a stone.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Can you please pull up the last one with the Aboriginal stuff? Where
I sure will. As soon as I will, as soon as I just go through these, because I want people to get kind of an idea. So more circles, some wavy lines that might mean like the streams or the mountain.
Yet.
I'm just going to really quick show you. Yes, this is kind of the concentric circles I was talking about. Do you guys see how there's lots of circles that almost run into each other? That's one technique you can do if you're not sure what you want to do with your background. I love this one. There's some lizards. What's in this page? What do you guys see? Kangaroo, yes. This one has a human drawn in it, which is kind of interesting. And then you see more of those concentric circles that I was talking about. This one, I'm seeing a lot of symbols. I'm definitely seeing like boomerangs, stones, footprints, all kinds of stuff hidden.
I see lots of childs. The horseshoe things are childs.
Oh, yeah.
And why are there so many children?
Maybe it's a family. It's a drawing of a family. Do you guys see an animal hidden in this one?
Kangaroo. Yes, I see.
Kangaroos down there again. Yes, and I also see the sun in the background. That was the symbol for the sun. This one has all kinds of animals. I see an emu. I see a snake, a kangaroo, a lizard. Do you guys see boomerangs in there? Do you know what boomerangs are? I should have pulled up a picture of a boomerang.
When are you going to teach us how to do it?
I'm going to teach you how to do it in like 12 seconds, I swear.
Can I tell you something?
Sure.
One of my grandparents went to Africa.
Oh, very cool.
Australia, and met one of the tribes.
Yep, that's an Aborigine right there. Cool. Thanks for sharing that. Here's a lizard. Here's another lizard. There's more lizards. All right. So that's what I have. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Actually, I will share my screen in a minute because I want to show you that that symbolism. But really quick, I'm going to switch over to this other camera. Can you guys see my artwork now? I'm in a pin spotlight. Okay, there we go. So this was actually done by someone else. I did this program back in like 2017, I think. And I had some of my materials left over, and this is something that someone had started. But I like what they were doing here. They were kind of creating like seaweed, like this is a sea turtle. And so they were creating like a seaweed pattern with dots here. And then down here, the dots, I think they got kind of tired of making dots and they ended up making a lot of lines, which that's okay too. But you'll see they were making like the sand at the bottom. And then they also started to make dots in the back of the turtle shell. So I wanted to show you another technique. If you want to make really small dots, You can use the back of your brush that I included. You should have like a little plastic or wooden brush in there. And that's great for making like little tiny dots. See how little those are going? So that's one trick I wanted to show you. And actually it's working pretty well to do that. But also if you're using your Q-tips, that would work better for like a bigger circle. So you could start with, this is like the concentric circles. You would make them like all over your page. And then you would choose another color to make more circles around it. And when I did this program in person last time, we used paint pens. If you are interested in this type of art form, the paint pens work really well too. And then you have like a lot of control over where you're putting your dots. So this would be the idea of the concentric circles, is that you would just keep on going around with different colors and different sizes of circles if you wanted to. So I am going to trying to think if there's anything else I needed to show you. So it's pretty much up to you what you want to do. Oh, if you wanted to do a symbol, let me, I need to share my screen again. Hold on. Pull up. Zoom is hard, guys. All right, so I'm going to share my screen again. Yes, absolutely, Phoebe, please start. I'm going to share my screen too, and I'm going to pull up that slide with the symbols because I had some requests for it. So I think this is, was this the screen that was sought after? Can you guys, oh, there we go. I don't know if I'm sharing my screen or not. It says that I am. Oh. Can you guys see my screen? Maybe, yes. Okay, so here is that page that I will leave up for a minute. There we go. So if you want to quickly jot down whatever symbols you are interested in copying, I'm going to actually start reading some of the stories that I borrowed from other libraries, because I want y'all to see some really interesting dot drawings going on. So go ahead, and if you want to sketch some of these symbols, I can pull up. I think we had most of the ones on this page. But here's another page, some spirit ancestor, the sun, father destiny, thunder and lightning. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna stop sharing, and instead, so here's my drawing. I'm gonna let you guys do whatever you want. Different sizes of dots, different colors of dots. I love it. And I'm gonna show you. I'm not wondering if it's better if I show you on my screen. So I think this should be inverted for you, which is not great. But this book is called Why I Love Australia.
Do you have
And
to
actually, I'm just gonna use my camera to show you. I'm gonna use my webcam to show you. Okay, because then it will be easier. Big rivers shaped by mystical beings flowing from the mountains to the sea. And you guys can keep on working, or if you want to just listen, you can. If you want to pop up and look at my screen, you can. Boab tree families, bountiful in shape, standing on the plains. Floating fields of billowing grasslands where eagles soar. So the artist did some dot drawings of eagles on this page. Ooh, this is just like some patterns. Do you guys see anything in the patterns in this right here? I see something. If you were a bird flying above.
Loads with claws on them.
That's awesome. Yes, suburban homes that chatter under a patchwork of rooftops. So these look like it just looks like a random pattern, but these are actually rooftops, and you nailed it. That's streets with cars on it. I don't think they had cars during the dream time. Waves that pound beaches and make patterns with driftwood and shells. The soft edges of crusted salt pans that create drawings on the land. Ooh, look at this page. Modern city lights like a jeweled necklace adorning an ancient landscape. So what do you guys see in the dot drawings on this page? Anyone? I think someone's trying to speak. Do you see, I see skyscrapers like you'd see in a really big city, but they look like dot drawings, which is pretty cool. We have the twisted trees and sandy soil of the bushland scrub in springtime. Bush cricket played on ants' nest pitches with friends and family anytime, any town. So in Australia, their pastime instead of baseball is cricket, and it's kind of similar to baseball, but that's Australia's big sport. Themes of secret light and strong warrior trees of the rainforest. So definitely seeing a contrast between like the city and the rainforest here. Gorges that plummet into serpentine shadows. So on this page, I'm seeing like some canyons and some water. Really cool lines going on. Cloaks of white that drape the rocky crags of snowy mountains. Learning the desert sky by the warmth of an open fire. So the background on this page is all stars with different size dots, white dots. So that's something you could do in your background if you were looking. I love this page. Shards of rainbow and swaying tentacles of watery light in a coral reef. Look how cool that is. All those different tentacles with different dots on them. So cool. Well, so that was why I love Australia. And this book is really cool. I kind of wish we had it in our collection. It has an interlibrary loan sleeve on the front of it, so I can't really show you the cover, but I think you could also borrow it from like online if you wanted the ebook. That would be a good way to see it. How's everyone doing with their drawings? Doing good? Any questions? Otherwise, I have another book by her name's Bronwyn Bancroft. She's done another one that's called Patterns of Australia. So this one was called Why I Love Australia, and this one's called Patterns of Australia. And I might try to show you on my dot cam with this one because it has more detailed. Oops. All right, what did I do? Oh yeah, start video. Hello. Okay, so it has kind of some more detailed things in here. Just like some really amazing Aboriginal dot drawings. So this is sort of a story about the author. So she says the traditional Aboriginal art can be understood in two layers. The outer story is the surface, the public story of their artwork. But what most people can't see is the inner story, that which is hidden, secret, sacred. Only the initiated or people from the clan know how to read the inner story. So that's kind of what I mentioned when we were going through those slides. So look at this page. I love the birds that she drew in there. So it says patterns of the sky. Lots of people see pictures in clouds, and I wanted to convey that sense of transformation. The clouds here are a dense design element, moving together, shifting and changing, as well as what you would expect to see in flight. The cockatoo, a galah, a kite, a king parrot, a dragonfly, a butterfly, and bees. There is also a boomerang representing the old times, along with contemporary airborne figures like the parachutist and the hot air balloons. So I didn't see all those things in the picture until I read, like, here's the boomerang, Here's that hot air balloon, all kinds of stuff hidden in there. Really cool. So this is patterns of the bush, which is like deep woods. To me, the inanimate is as important as the animate in the bush, and that is why rocks I painted appear as organic as the tree trunks. The patterns of circles represent chlorophyll and how nature constantly recreates itself. Animals disappear in the bush, becoming parts of their surroundings. And then she says all the things that she hidden in here. Maybe you can see an echinida, which I'm not sure what that is, a frill-necked lizard, a rock wallaby, a magpie, a sugar glider, a red ghost hawk, a wedge-tailed eagle, a blue-tongued lizard, and a blue wren and skinks. So all
Excuse me.
this stuff is hidden in the.
I see the echidna. Wait, go back.
What is it?
It's look underneath the dog thing. It's in the side of the screen. It's on like the very edge. It's on the left side, I want to say.
This one right here?
Yeah. Look for the one with the pokey stuff on it, the one that kind of looks like a porcupine.
That's what that is?
Yeah, echidnas are in the same species as platypus. That's why they're so rare.
No way! I learned something new today. That's awesome.
Hashtag kids
Thank you for
sometimes
knowing
know more than the
I love
parent.
the frill-necked lizard. That's really cool. Oh, this picture is so cool. So this is the night sky looking up from the bush. So lying out in the bush at night, looking up at the sky with stars as your only illumination, you have to listen for the animals you can't see. What you can hear rustling among what can you hear rustling among the leaves? Perhaps a koala, a possum, an owl, a bat, a toad, a carpet snake, and a spider. So let's see what I can see. I see a UFO right here, I think. But I can see the koala. She said a spider right there. Really cool. All right, so this is pattern. Oh, sorry, what was that? Someone have something else they wanted to say about that page?
I see an airplane in the middle.
Yeah, definitely can see that in the full moon right here. The North Star right here. All right, so next we have patterns of the desert. When I think of the desert, I think of movement. The very air seems to move with flickering heat and sand particles blown by the wind. The animals that live in this harsh environment move through the country in search for food. There is a surprising amount of life in the desert. You might see a red kangaroo, a scorpion, an emu, a wombat, a bilby, a snake, a goanna, a brumby, and wedge-tailed eagles. So I know what most of those animals are. Does anyone know what a bilby is?
Do. Again, I'm the one that knows it. It's like, it kind of looks like a mouse, but they're like bluish and they dig underground. They are marsupials. They have pouches.
I wonder if this is the bilby right here because it's underground.
Yeah, that's it. That's the bilby. Their pouches actually face backwards, so when they're digging, the stuff doesn't go into the pouch.
Oh, cool. All right, what was the other one that I was like, what's that? A goanna?
So, for the last one, the one first, like that's facing the most down.
I don't know. I see a cactus in the background. That's cool. Ooh, patterns of wildflowers. I have put the wildflowers in a desert setting to show that even though a landscape may appear barren, it doesn't mean there's nothing there. For in the ever-changing seasonal landscape, a barren land may burst into bloom. Suddenly, there is an abundance. So some of you may be familiar with like the Stewart's desert pea, awara, wattle, kangaroo paws, but can you recognize callistemons, sundew, fibalium, fringle myrtle, emu bush, and snow daisies? No, I can't recognize those. But look at all the flowers on this page. What's on this? Oh, this one has lots of circles in it. It's in the river. So the old stories tell of the rainbow serpent that went through the land and created the rivers. And you can see the sinuous shape of the serpent behind the patterns of this picture. The patterns of bubbles represent effervescence and the freshness of water.
I see it. And I see
Yeah.
the duck.
You see the snake?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, me
Lots
too.
of circles.
Yeah, long serpent. There's also a crocodile, a water snake, a turtle, a water spider, fish, a yabby, a platypus, a crane, ducks, and tadpoles. So I'm wondering, this might be the crocodile and the snake is kind of going through here, I think. But also it sort of looks like the snake is like the whole river. It looks just like that pattern. And you guys might not be able to see it as well because I'm seeing like the whole picture and you guys are, I don't know if I can move my camera up a little bit more, but you can kind of see the river and it looks just like the snake on that picture. So let's see. And we are running a little bit low on time. I want people to have a chance if they want to show off what they are working on, what their progress looks like. So maybe we'll just share a couple more pages. What's this one? Ooh, the rainforest, the wetland. So on this page, there is another rock wallaby, a water monitor, which looks kind of like a little Komodo dragon over here. A heron, a crayfish, a sea eagle, a magpie goose, fish, brolgas, and black swans. So all kinds of hidden pictures on this page. There's a little a magpie goose. I'm wondering what a brolga is. I'm seeing something that almost looks like a little dog. I'm wondering if that's the brolga because it didn't. Oh, she said a rock wallaby though, so that might be the rock wallaby. I wonder what a brolga is. So this is patterns of the rainforest. And in this page, there's a bush rat, kingfisher, a witchetty grub, a butterfly, a frog, a snake, a goanna, a cassowary are hiding. So this book would be really fun if you guys were like sitting in front of and you could like find the different animals hidden in it. This book is super cool. Which, sorry, I'll go back. What did you see?
I see a bird, a
Oh, those were the bush rats, right?
And a frog of some sort.
Yep, the bush rats are right here. This is a kingfisher. It's like a bird with a really long beak. I see the part of a butterfly right here. Ooh, do you guys see the snake right here? Let me move it over.
We can't see the other page.
Yeah, let me move it over here. Do you see the snake right here? Ooh. And this is some sort of lizard. What kind of lizard did she say it was?
That might not be a lizard. That might be part of a cassowary's leg, but who knows?
What's a cassowary?
A cassowary is one of the most dangerous birds. It's basically a cross between an ostrich, a turkey, and someone that really likes mohawks.
Oh.
And also, it looks like someone dumped paint on its head.
I think that might be it right here. And it's
that's it. That's definitely it.
Yes. All right. Well, this will be our last page because someone told me they're done. So this is patterns of the ocean.
And a sea star and a turtle.
You see a turtle already? I see what do you think that is? Looks like a little worm.
I see an octopus of some sort.
Oh, you're right. I think it's a squid.
Is he smiling?
He's smiling, yeah. There's this fish over here who looks scared. I see a starfish over here. I see a fish hidden behind this over here. I see some sort of like, I don't know if that's a bird. Yeah, those are seagulls. So awesome. Okay, we'll just look at the next page. This is the reef. So we're still in the ocean. And that's actually the end of the book. So that was a really cool book. And you can kind of see on the back, she has her wildflower page. And then this was that page in the river with the dream serpent. Okay, so I'm going to turn off my spotlight and do a gallery view and remove my spotlight. If anyone wants to show off their artwork, go ahead and hold it up to the camera And I'm going to switch over to my face camera. Oh my goodness. I see. Ooh, Rowan. I'm seeing a cool lizard that looks like she's all the way painted in with the lizard. So now she's working on her background.
I'm in the background.
Let's see. I'm seeing Callum's kangaroo. He's almost done with the kangaroo, ready to do the background. I see Sarah Penn, and I don't know if that's your name or mom's name or, but yes, I'm seeing a sea turtle in the background. Henry, aka Pizza Dev, has some
Both me and my brother. I'm William and my brother is Henry.
And you guys both went with the lizard. Cool.
Yes.
Who else have I
actually
not?
designed the eyeballs.
Phoebe, which one did you choose? The sea turtle. Oh my gosh, and Fountain has a koala. Delilah has a lovely kangaroo going on. This is so fun to see your artwork. What about Noah? You said you were done. Oh, no, I don't know if that's Noah or another one, but I love the snake because I know Noah said he was done. That snake looks great. We got a koala in that family. Yeah, look at Sarah's turtle. Ashley.
My name is not Sarah. That's my mom's name.
What's your name?
Isaac.
Okay, Isaac has a really cool sea turtle going on. Well, I had so much fun today with you guys, sharing all about these amazing Aboriginal art pieces. So I hope you learned something new and you learned something a little bit, interesting about Australia and about the Aborigines. And I hope you have fun finishing up your paintings because you guys have a lot of work to do if you want to finish all of them. Like,
A kangaroo.
oh my gosh. Is it Lois? That's maybe your mom's name. I'm not sure.
That's my grandma.
That's your grandma's name. All right. Well, that is, oh my gosh, and you already started on your koala.
Hey, Lois is my grandma's name.
No way. I have a great aunt named Lois.
Why are so many people named Lois?
Yeah, it's not a very popular name anymore, is it?
No, I feel like it kind of is because of how many people have it.
A lot of people did have it, yes. All right. Well, I want to say thank you so much for coming. And next week, we'll just post a video. If you want to do World Wednesday next week, instead of doing a Zoom class, it's just going to be a video that you can watch on your own time. And it's an origami storytelling program. So if you want to participate, you'll just need some paper. It doesn't even have to be origami paper. He's going to teach you how to cut it so that it's perfect for folding origami. So if you've ever wanted to learn a little bit more about Japan and about how to fold origami, then that will be next week. And then I think the next one coming up that I'm personally going to do is an embroidery one. And I'll show you, I'm working on the pattern right now. It's called Kasuti embroidery. And I have it right here and I'm working on getting that ready to go. So that's the next one I'm teaching at the end of July. So if you are interested in learning.
I have a cross stitch that I'm working on.
Well, then you better sign up for my World Wednesday because I'll teach you how to do some embroidery. So I will see you guys all again sometime soon.